Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. The biggest enemy you will ever face in your life is not your boss, it's not your haters, it's not your past, your parents, your partner, or your problems. It's you. You are your biggest obstacle. It's a hard truth to swallow, but once you really sit with it, everything starts to shift. Most people go through life pointing fingers at circumstances, at other people, at the past, but rarely do we stop and take a long, honest look in the mirror and say, maybe it's me. That takes guts. That takes a level of accountability most aren't willing to embrace. But let me tell you something. Until you do, nothing changes, nothing moves, nothing grows. See, the enemy isn't always outside the house. Sometimes the sabotage is happening on the inside. It's the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough before you've even tried. It's the hesitation that makes you freeze when opportunity knocks. It's the habits, the distractions, the laziness disguised as rest, the procrastination masked as preparation. You're out here saying the world is against you when really you've been benching yourself from the game. When you look around and see other people rising, winning, pushing forward, you might feel left behind. But the truth is, they're not lucky. They're not better than you. They just decided to stop making themselves the problem. They started showing up even when they were scared. They silenced the inner critic that's been screaming in your ear for years. That's the real battle. The moment you realize that the only thing standing between you and where you want to be is you, that's the moment your life starts changing. Most people think it's about talent. Nah, it's about mindset. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you keep talking yourself out of the room, you'll never know what could have been. If you keep playing small to make other people comfortable, you'll keep living a life far below your calling. You got to be bold enough to confront yourself. Ask the tough questions. Why haven't I started? Why do I quit halfway? Why do I keep waiting for the perfect time that never comes? It's not easy to admit you've been holding yourself back, that you've settled, that you've let fear ride shotgun for too long. But that honesty, that's power. That's where real growth begins. You can't fix what you won't face, and you can't outrun yourself. You'll find a new job, a new city, a new relationship, but if the same broken mindset follows you, the same results will too. You keep telling yourself stories. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right background. People like me don't get chances like that. But those are lies you've repeated so many times, you started believing them. Let me be clear. The problem isn't your lack of resources, it's your lack of resourcefulness. You've got more in you than you've ever tapped into, but you keep locking the door from the inside. You keep waiting for someone else to come save you, to discover you, to give you permission. You don't need a savior. You need a decision. Excuses delay your destiny. They sound reasonable, even logical, but they are silent killers of progress. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, or now's not the right time, you're not just postponing action, you're putting your dreams on hold. Excuses are clever. They come dressed up as wisdom, as caution, as practicality. But underneath all of that, they're just fear in disguise. Fear of failing, fear of succeeding, fear of change. And as long as you let those excuses drive, you're never going to reach your destination. People waste years waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Life is messy. It's unpredictable. The stars rarely align and the path is never clear from the start. But here's the thing. Your future doesn't care about your excuses. Opportunity doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't wait for your bank account to hit a certain number or for your calendar to magically open up. The clock is ticking whether you move or not. Every excuse you make becomes a brick in the wall between you and your purpose. You say, I don't have enough time, but you scroll for hours on your phone. You say, I'm not qualified, but you haven't even tried. You say, I'm waiting until things calm down, but life always has something going on. What you're really doing is choosing comfort over growth. And while you stay comfortable, your destiny is out there wondering when you're going to show up for it. You see other people winning and you think they have something you don't. But more often than not, they just stopped making excuses. They decided their dream was more important than their reasons for avoiding it. They worked with what they had. They moved forward even when it wasn't perfect. That's what separates those who live fulfilled from those who just fantasize about it. Excuses feel safe. They take the pressure off. They let you off the hook. But they also rob you of the satisfaction that comes from doing what you were meant to do. Your goals don't get met by waiting. They get met by working, by starting, by showing up when it's inconvenient, uncertain, and uncomfortable. The longer you feed your excuses, the stronger they get. They grow roots. They settle in. And eventually they become your reality, not because they're true, but because you let them be. You have to ask yourself, are you protecting your fear or pursuing your future? You can't do both. Fear is the doorway to greatness. Most people see fear as a stop sign, a warning, a reason to turn around. But what if fear isn't there to block you? It's there to guide you. See, the very thing you're scared of is often the very thing you need to do. That nervous energy, that tight feeling in your chest, that voice whispering, what if you fail? That's not your enemy. That's your compass. Fear only shows up when something matters. You're not afraid of stuff that doesn't count. You're afraid because deep down you know this next move could change your life, and that's why it feels so heavy. That's why you hesitate. But you've got to stop treating fear like a wall. It's not a wall. It's a door. And the key to that door is action. People wait until the fear goes away to make moves. But fear doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. It moves with you. The trick is learning how to walk through it. You've got to stop trying to eliminate fear and start learning how to move with it. Fear doesn't mean you're not ready. It means you're growing. It means you're about to level up. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. Greatness is on the other side of scared. Think about everything you've ever accomplished in your life that made you proud. Somewhere in the beginning, fear was present. But you did it anyway. That's what courage is, not the absence of fear, but doing it while you're still shaking. Every successful person you admire has felt fear and doubt, but they walked into it. They leaned in. They didn't run from it, they ran through it. The people who let fear run their lives stay stuck. They play small. They talk themselves out of the big idea, the bold move, the life-changing step. But the ones who chase greatness, they use fear as fuel. They recognize it as a sign that they're in the right place, facing the right challenge. Fear will try to tell you that you're not ready, that you'll fail, that you're not enough. But greatness never announces itself with comfort. It comes wrapped in risk, in uncertainty, in moments where you feel unqualified. In those moments, they're the doorway. Success requires daily commitment. It's not a one-time decision. It's not a burst of motivation. It's not something you chase only when you feel inspired. Success is built in the quiet, unseen hours. It's the choices you make when no one's watching. The discipline to stay focused when distractions are loud. The grind you put in on the days you feel tired, unmotivated, or overlooked. People want the results but avoid the routine. They want the breakthrough without the buildup, but success doesn't work like that. It's not about making a grand move once. It's about showing up consistently over and over, even when the results aren't instant. That's the part most people skip. They quit too soon because they think success is supposed to be glamorous, fast, and full of applause. But real success is gritty. It's repetitive. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It's saying no to comfort and yes to progress. Day after day. You can't rely on motivation because it fades. Commitment is what carries you when motivation is gone. It's what keeps you moving when the process feels boring. You're not always going to feel like doing the work. That's why commitment matters. It's a promise to yourself that your future is worth the effort. Even when it's hard, even when it's slow, every little step counts. Every habit, every decision, every small action adds up. People think it takes one big moment to change their life, but the truth is, it's the compound effect of daily discipline. It's reading a little more, practicing a little longer, improving a little every day. That's what builds momentum. That's what separates winners from wishers. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Progress doesn't come from bursts. It comes from rhythm. You either build your future one day at a time, or you let the days slip by and wonder why nothing's changing. Success is earned in the ordinary, in the commitment to keep going no matter how you feel. Believe in yourself first. Before the world gives you a chance, before the opportunity shows up, before anyone claps for you, you've got to see it in yourself. Too many people are waiting for validation, for permission, for someone to tell them they're good enough. But the truth is, if you don't believe in you, nobody else will either. Confidence doesn't come from success. It comes from deciding that you're worthy of it long before you see the results. You don't need the crowd to approve your vision. You don't need everyone to agree. Most of the people you admire started with no support, no spotlight, and no guarantees. What they had was belief. They trusted their gift. They believed in their ability to grow, to learn, to improve. That belief was the foundation that everything else was built on. Without it, the dream falls apart the moment things get tough. Self-belief is not arrogance. It's not pretending to be perfect. It's knowing that even if you don't have all the answers now, you're capable of figuring it out. It's trusting that you're not defined by your failures or your past. It's owning your value and refusing to shrink to make others comfortable. When you believe in yourself, you carry yourself differently. You speak with clarity. You move with intention. You show up with the kind of energy that creates opportunities. The world reflects what you project. If you walk in uncertain, full of doubt, that energy will meet you at the door. But when you walk in knowing who you are and what you bring to the table, doors start opening. People start listening. Things start shifting. That kind of belief is magnetic. You might not have all the resources. You might not have the experience. But belief, that's free. That's internal. That's something you decide. And once you lock in on that, the game changes. You stop needing to be chosen and start choosing yourself. Because belief is the root of action. You'll never move towards something you don't think you deserve. The real battle is in the mirror. It's not about who's competing with you. It's not about who's ahead of you or who has more followers, more money, more connections. The real challenge is the person staring back at you every morning. That's who you're up against. Not just their habits or their excuses, but their mindset, their doubts, their comfort zone. You can fake it for other people. You can post the highlights and say the right things, but the mirror never lies. It shows you where you really are. Not where you wish you were, not where you pretend to be. The mirror reflects truth. And sometimes truth hurts. It reveals when you've been slacking, when you've been playing small, when you've been settling. And facing that truth, that's the hardest part. It's easy to point fingers at the world, to say life isn't fair, to blame the system or the timing. But real growth begins when you stop doing that. When you stop running and start facing the real issue. You control how you respond, how you prepare, how you push forward. The external stuff might slow you down, but it's the internal war that determines if you keep going or give up. The mirror forces you to ask the hard questions. Am I giving my best? Am I making progress or just being busy? Am I holding on to a story that's keeping me stuck? And most importantly, am I living up to who I know I can be? Every day, you've got a choice to win the battle or lose it, not by beating someone else, but by outgrowing who you were yesterday. That's where the real work is. That's where the breakthrough lives. It's not out there. It's in you.